We finished up last week with the broken spring on the starter. So we've got that fixed and we gave it another hit. Give it a run. Well, now it's running, we've got to make sure it's stopping. So we moved on to the brakes. But let's just say there was a few little curveballs involved with this one. Nothing going on through those, so. Just the rubber hoses on this thing we had to replace because they were all blocked up, because they've been sitting. All brand new, second hand sort of thing. Before that, we actually undid them all here, between the chassis, undid both sides, and we undid it off the master cylinder. And just blew air through just to make sure they were all clear. All the steel lines were clear. Dad's just giving these a quick rebuild.
Yep.
New seals.
Got a left and a right.
Pair of.
Wagner, made in the USA.
Beautiful. We got the brake slave cylinders installed. You need to make sure the brake shoes slip in perfectly into the slot in the slave cylinder. All that holds the brake shoes in is a couple of split pins at the bottom, a little retaining clip in the middle, and then a spring at the top. So what we did there was we got this spring hooked in this one, and it goes behind this little bar here. Then we hooked it into there. So it's got a fair bit of tension on it, so we actually had to fucking reef on it a fair bit.
And that's your handbrake.
So that's your handbrake there, that comes on. You pull that way, which pushes the shoes outwards against the drum. So it tapered fits, keyways line up, and that's what gives you the drive. As opposed to like a late model axle, now they're like 31 spline or 28 spline on the later model cars. This is just like a single spline, I guess. So we're just putting the brakes on here. We actually noticed that see if we can get it to focus there. The keyway here, so it runs on the keyway like I was showing you on the other side. It's actually broken away here on the axle. So that, yeah, there is a tiny little bit holding it, but that's the way it's going to turn. So you're going to have that little B stick there holding it on. So in turn, this axle is stuffed. So I'll have to ask Dad to see if he's got one in stock.
Yeah, what colour you want?
These are the new second-hand ones Dad had in stock, but just look see how tight that keyway is. So compare that to the other one, which is rooted. Sort of see what we're working with now. Getting the backing plate off, undone the spring, got the shocker off. Just got to get all these bolts around here, I think 9/16 off them, and we should be able to pop the tube off. So once we got this trumpet off, we realised that the bolts to actually get the axle out have to be accessed from the other side. So we've just done all the same again. All the bolts around here, shocker, spring. We're just getting ready to pop that one off so we can get to the bolts here. There we go. Look at that. It's the first time you've seen it in 90 years. I've just come to the realisation we could have just taken the
right hand side off.
The left hand side off and just fucking pulled it all out. Oh well. It's all a learning curve.
Okay.
Dad's doing his weights. He already went for a run this morning, so it's good. We undid the 8 bolts around the crown wheel and split the 2 in half. So these axles actually have a spider gear on the end, whereas on a late model car, the center is standalone and it'll have like a 28 or a 31 spline that goes inside the diff. We got the 2 halves back together, torqued up the 8 bolts around the crown wheel to spec, which is actually 3 uggata-duggatas on the rattle gun. So we've got both wires sort of knocked through about and they're meeting in the middle. So we'll lock them off and then chuck it back in. Got the diff back in, got the trumpets on. We didn't have any gaskets, so we've just sort of siliconed that up, so hopefully that seals up. Dad's just bolting it all back together. To get the rear spring attached to the diff, they both have a square spline. So you actually need to lift it up and down to line both splines up with the shackle. Once you get one shackle on, you're pretty well hot to trot. The other one will line up pretty easily. So yesterday after we got the diff, or the new axle put in, my brother came down and gave us a hand. We got the diff back in, got it all attached back up, everything tight. We bled the brakes, filled up the diff oil, gearbox oil, and we thought actually we've probably got a chance here of getting this thing running and driving. So we did the radiator, put the radiator in, grill, filled it up with water, had a million water leaks, so we got through all those and then got to take it for its first drive under its own power, so that was pretty cool. I'll show you the video now. First time driving under its own power in about 40 years. What a pisser. Yeah, let's go. Brother's jumping in the dicky seat. Oh, that's good. Oh. Here we go. First drive. Any cars coming?
No cars? Nah. Here we go.
Got gears, got brakes?
I don't know, I haven't tried the brakes.
How good's that? Bit of smoke coming out of here. Probably just shit coming off the exhaust. What do you reckon of that, Dad?
Not bad.
Huh?
Pretty cool.
Gotta be happy with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Now it's running and driving. Our main focus is going to be just sort of dialing in because there's a few little bits and pieces that we just want to sort of get good. We're probably going to get rid of the bars, just make it look a bit more hot roddy. Weld up these big cracks in the front guards. Have a bit of play with the carbies because this rear carby is actually leaking a bit of fuel in there. So if we've got any 94 gurus on here, hit us up in the comments because I've pulled it apart, put it back together, but that's about the extent of my knowledge. Maybe even give it a wash, but I doubt it. Thanks for watching, guys. And if you could like and subscribe, that would be shit hot.